Are you kidding me? She asked. As soon as I'm done, I'm going to be just as bored as you are. Find your own project. Frustrated, I stomped up the steps into John's room, threw myself on my bed, and flailed around in imitation of a toddler's tantrum. John, who was sitting cross-legged on his bed and closely studying some kind of chart, didn't even look up at me. He was fully in the nerd zone, which was a strange sight because his face wasn't illuminated by the glow of a computer screen, like when he went down the rabbit hole of internet information searching. He had apparently found other ways to geek out. I thought about bounding onto his bed and harassing him, not out of spite, but for lack of anything better to do, but decided against it. He was entitled to his own time to relax without being used as a distraction from my thoughts. My lack of activity was driving me batty for a variety of reasons, but mostly because my restless mind kept circling back to one thought: Gabriel. How hot he was, how he made me laugh, how good his body felt against mine. Against all reason, and despite our decidedly unfriendly first encounters, I was in the midst of a full-blown crush. That would have been fine in the normal world, but in the enclosed snow globe of the Sayong cabin, there was no escaping it. I knew that my attraction to him was genuine, but cabin fever seemed to be amplifying the sensation, blowing it up to the point of fixation, which just wasn't my style. I wanted his comfort and his heat and his friendship, but I didn't want to lose any more of myself than I already had. Why don't you do some jumping jacks or something instead of lying there overthinking things? John said. I glanced at him. He picked up a cardboard circle covered with small numbers and fiddled with it. The device was actually a moving wheel that made calculations of some sort. I was thinking about what's going to happen if we run out of food. I lied, and then felt even worse because I hadn't been, and it was something we needed to take into consideration. No, you weren't. You were finding some reason to wriggle out of the fact that you like my brother. Okay, have you developed some post-head injury psychic powers? I asked, pushing up on my elbows. I kinda hoped he had. Maybe then we would finally know what was going on. Right now, I'm using this star finder wheel to determine exactly what constellations will be above us today. Because the night sky doesn't change much. I know where Saturn will be, and Mars, and Orion, he said. He glanced at me and arched a brow. You're just as predictable. This moping and navel-gazing usually precedes the "I just don't think he's right for me" speech you use to justify your independent woman hang-up. Ouch. Someone had been paying close attention to my dating habits over the past few years, and it certainly wasn't me. I wanted to be mad, but I couldn't deny what he said. Not a word of it. What's wrong with not wanting to be dependent on a man? It was wonderful to know that Gabriel wanted to keep me safe, but it felt like giving something up to admit that I didn't want to do everything on my own. Nothing's wrong with that. The way he said those words, a disdainful drawl, indicated he thought otherwise. He made an adjustment to his star wheel, and then turned an exasperated gaze in my direction. But you're not Miss Independence. You're a human who enjoys affection. And Gabriel isn't just another one of your hapless dates. He's my brother. I love you, and I have no problem with anything happening between you two. So I'll say this nicely. Don't fuck with my brother's emotions. My stomach lurched. Weren't you the one encouraging me to have sweaty monkey sex with him? Yes, but that was then. Now, I see the way he looks at you, and the way you look at him, and then I see you in here trying to talk yourself out of it. I crossed my arms over my chest. I wouldn't hurt your brother. I said. Let's keep it real. He'd be the one to end up hurting me. That's how these things work with hot doctors, right? John stopped fiddling with his star wheel. Arden, it would be really sad if even the freaking apocalypse couldn't get you to drop your defenses and let someone in. I've never seen Gabriel react to someone quite the way he does to you. He can be an overbearing jerk, but I can tell you from experience that he's a sensitive, overbearing jerk.